do we have another presentation?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, House Resolution number 202, honoring 3 retired veterans who are unsung heroes who continue to give back to the state of Hawaii. This resolution is offered by Representatives McDermott and Ward.
Okay, thank you very much. Representative McDermott.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Thank you very much. Representative Ward.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
It has been moved and seconded. Representative McDermott.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. It's quite an honor today. I stand in strong support, obviously. It's quite an honor today to continue the tradition we started last year, honoring people of the Vietnam era who've served our country and have given back in so many ways. When they came home, Mr. Speaker, there were no parades, there were no people clapping in the airports for them, quite the contrary. So I'm going to go in reverse rank order today. The first person I'd like to recognize is Mr. Tim Gard. Tim, would you please rise and remain standing? Tim is Keikioka Aina. Tim is a waterman and a champion surfer way back. He is a waterman. He's still active with the Duke Hanamoku Foundation. Saltwater is in his blood. Tim enlisted in the Navy, and in 1966, he got a commission. He was a swift boat commander in the Mekong Delta. Now, that was a very dangerous area, Mr. Speaker, because the enemy knew which way you were going. You were either going up the river or down the river, and you were susceptible to ambush 24/7. Tim was awarded several decorations for that. What some people won't know, in 2004, when the whole swift boat thing came up, both sides were after Tim. And he said, I don't need that. I'm too busy helping other people in Honolulu. And that's what Tim does. If you're a nonprofit or you're a business organization and you want to be successful, you call Tim Gard. Problem is, it's like catching lightning in a bottle. He's spread thinner than peanut butter, but everybody wants Tim to help them, because if they do, they'll be successful. Tim's also on the board of directors of the Denver Broncos. So whatever you do when you go through and congratulate him, don't ask him about the Super Bowl, okay? Please. Tim still gives back to our community in a myriad of ways. He's on so many boards and foundations. He's a true treasure to us. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tim Gard. Tim can be seated. Our next honoree is not going to stand because I don't want him to stand. It's retired Admiral Joe Vasey. Joe, raise your hand. Just raise your hand, Joe. Sit down. I don't want you to stand. Joe uses a walker. Mr. Speaker, Joe is the only one in this chamber who can call you Sonny Boy. He's 96 years old. Joe is a World War II veteran who served over in Africa in the submarine force and then in the Pacific. Mr. Speaker, in the Pacific during World War II, submariners had a 50% mortality rate. Not casualty. 100 went out, only 50 came back. The end of World War II, and for my majority colleagues, I want you to know, Joe worked in the White House for Harry S. Truman. And that's in the days when the president knew every aide in the White House working there. He even took Margaret out on a date. Now, I'm not going to tell you how the date went, but he ended up in a one-man listening post in Borneo shortly thereafter. I made that part up. But Joe ended up being deputy chief of staff for SINCPAC back in the late 60s and early 70s. He worked for John McCain's father when McCain Sr. was the commander over there and was making decisions. His son got captured, and he was the commander up there, making decisions on air raids and bombings where they didn't know where the son was. In 1970, Joe retired, and he said, I've seen enough war in my lifetime. So he went on to found the Pacific Forum CSIS, which is designed to further communication between Pacific region countries so we settle our disagreements through talking and not bullets. Joe still gives back to the community. He's in touch with world leaders on a daily basis. Although the body's frail, the mind is still sharp. Ladies and gentlemen, Rear Admiral Joe Vasey. Thank you, sir. And finally, we have retired Admiral Ron Hayes. Admiral, will you stand up, please? A four-star admiral. He was SINCPAC commander in the late 1980s. A humble man who rose from modest beginnings in America's heartland to lofty heights, consulting with presidents and heads of state. Admiral Hayes, during the Vietnam conflict, was awarded so many air medals that his chest isn't large enough to put them on as a combat aviator. That heroic service propelled him up through the ranks to eventually sink back commander. When Ron retired, he took over the Aviation Museum, which at that point was a hodgepodge held together, matchsticks and glue, and turned it into one of our top visitor attractions here in Honolulu. Because of his gravitas and the rank that he had, Ron is able to reach out and get multi-million-dollar donations to make the Aviation Museum the treasure it is today. He's recently been named Chairman Emeritus, and he continues to give back. He has been asked to be honored by myriads of organizations, but he always says no. And one thing all three of these gentlemen have in common is, to them, it's about shining the light on other people, not themselves. How can I help you? So some of you don't know Admiral Hayes because he's refused these honors over the years. He's an unsung hero. All three gentlemen, we have aviation, submarine, and surface today representing the Navy. And ladies and gentlemen, Admiral Ron Hayes. Thank you, Admiral. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, Representative, thank you very much. Representative Ward,
Mr. Speaker, I rise in strong support.
please proceed.
Mr. Speaker, former Congressman and now, how would you call it, patriot, Jack Kemp said, history is biography. Get to know history by knowing the individuals who made the history. Don't look at it as dates and just events or battles, but look at the individuals who move by motivation, who move by their strong felt beliefs and commitment to God, country, and to their community, make a difference in their community. And Mr. Speaker, that's why it's such an honor today to stand and to just to add to what has been said about these three unsung heroes. They have made a difference, and they've made the world a different place to live, whether it was in the Vietnam, it was in the White House, whether it was in SINPAC. These three, Mr. Speaker, are policy giants. When they speak, past and present presidents listen, and as mentioned earlier, world leaders listen to these gentlemen, and that's why history has been made so different by these three gentlemen. It's a great honor to say, thank you, gentlemen, for serving your country. Thank you for making it safer for democracy. Thank you for making it for us here to be able to speak out freedom-wise and otherwise as Americans. Thank you for all that you've done. Aloha.
Thank you very much, Representative. All right, Representative Takai,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in support.
please proceed.
Thank you. Just briefly, I just wanted to ask all of the veterans in the gallery and also on the floor, those of you who served in service, to please rise. Thank you. Thank you. We honor you and we honor your fellow veterans who today receive from this grateful state a long, much overdue thank you. We thank you for fighting for our nation. We thank you for never giving up on us. Please, gentlemen, rise again and take a much-deserved bow. And colleagues, please join me in thanking our heroes today. Thank you. Please rise.